Hello, and welcome to the Accounting Change of Major workshop. If you're watching this video, it probably means that you've just changed your major into accounting, but you've already started at the Huntsman School and you've seen a welcome workshop video, or you attended an in-person welcome workshop. So this is very similar to that. If you started in another major or you were a business undecided student, you went through some general academic advising, advice, and policies and procedures. We're not going to cover all of those kind of things. You can meet with your academic advisor to talk about that. In accounting, you see we have a variety of advisors. We have Myra Durant. She advises those with last names of A through L. You can also meet with Oakley Ransom. She advises accounting students with the last names of M through Z. And then we have Amanda Peterson. If you are a statewide student or you're off campus, you can meet with her, and she covers all statewide students that are majoring in business. Now, with this video, we want to primarily focus on what you can do with an accounting degree. And so you can see there's going to be a lot of different options depending on what major you're in. With accounting, we've got some resources available for you, starting with the Canvas course, Dare Mighty Accounting Careers. Again, if you were maybe a business undecided, you would have been invited to the Dare to Decide Canvas course. If, let's say, you were a marketing major, you would have been in the Dare Mighty Marketing Majors Campus course. So now welcome to the accounting one. It's very similar to the other Canvas courses, obviously now with an emphasis on accounting. So please explore that. Make sure you look at past announcements to see what was in there, what we've posted regarding accounting, if there's any accounting events that are coming up. Those announcements, like all the other Canvas courses, go out once a week, usually Wednesday. So keep your notifications on, make sure you're checking those announcements. Accounting recruiting happens fast and it happens early. So we will have accounting firms and companies that are meeting with students maybe a year before you're actually going and interning there. Sometimes even further out than a year and a half. I've even seen 2 years out. So if you feel like you're ahead of the game, you're probably not. So get on it as soon as you can. Check those announcements, see what events are going on, see what companies and accounting firms are on campus. Also in those announcements are job opportunities. I'll post things that I find on Aggie Handshake, but also if a company reaches directly to me, I will post that and maybe highlight it. Sometimes it's here in Cache Valley, sometimes it's outside of the Valley. It's always good to have those notifications on and checking. Now, if you're still within your first semester or first year, you do qualify to do the first semester checklist. This is a list of activities and items that we want you to complete within a reasonable time before you get too far along in your academic career. There's simple things like meet with your advisor, meet with your career coach. That's me. I'm your career coach. And that way you are not behind when it comes time for you to meet some of those career milestones. Make sure that you're going through that. You can get some prizes for accomplishing some of those tasks in the first semester checklist. We have a leaderboard for those that complete the most tasks. It just makes it a little bit more fun to do that as well. And within the whole Canvas course, explore it, see what other resources are in there. Okay, now we're just going to quickly and briefly go through some of the popular career paths in accounting. This is not comprehensive or exhaustive. There's too many directions that you can go with accounting, which is a good thing, but there are some primary industries that I would recommend that you start pursuing now that will open up more opportunities for you in the future if you want to pivot later. So I'm going to highlight just a handful of those industries, starting with public accounting. This is the most popular group, and you'll maybe have heard of this before, but this is for those that want to become a CPA. And that stands for Certified Public Accountant. And typically, if you're starting in public accounting, you will be going into just a couple of the different areas, departments within public accounting, either audit or tax. It's something you'll often hear from accounting students. Are you going into audit or tax? That's just the most common departments. Now, you don't know, so I highly recommend you get as many internships in this field as possible so you can explore that. And we'll talk about internships in a minute. But CPA, the certification is pretty standard if you want to work in public accounting. It might not be required to start there, but most CPA firms do want you to have a CPA. The larger the firm, the more standard and required it is. The smaller the firm, it might be more optional. But even then, CPAs are valuable. So just know that that's the route. You don't have to get your master's of accountancy, called the MAC, but it is highly recommended. It increases your chances of passing the CPA. So I do recommend that if you're going that route. This is a great place to start a career in accounting because it opens up a lot of options for you to pivot to. If you don't like it, let's say you start an audit, you're not really loving it, you can pivot to tax. Let's say you don't like audit or tax, maybe you pivot to consulting or advisory. Let's say you want to get out of public accounting altogether. You could go find a company. We call this management accounting or industry accounting. And what this is where you will be an internal controller or accountant for a specific company. While public accounting, you're working with many companies and many individuals. Managerial accounting is a little bit more selective. You'll be working within one company on a team, maybe a combination of accountants and finance analysts, possibly. Depending on the size of the company, it could change of how that work might look. But I typically recommend students be really solid in their decision if they want to start directly into industry, because you're kind of pigeonholing yourself into working internal accounting. It doesn't mean you can't shift over to a CPA firm. It's just harder. It's really easy to start with a CPA and move over to anywhere else you want to go because you've created a lot of value for yourself. You've exposed yourself to a lot more industries, a lot more companies, a lot more tax laws, rules, regulations. While in management, it might be a little bit more specific. So that's something that you have to decide. Obviously, it changes on the kind of company you're working for. Again, not exhaustive in this list, but here's a few other options. Government is highly popular in accounting. Finance, you can do anything in finance without a finance degree, but you do have to be intentional. If you want to do finance with an accounting degree, make sure that you're meeting with the finance career coach, that you are going to their clubs. If you want to get into investment banking, you're doing the investment banking club, right? So keep that in mind. Academics is a great option if you want to be a professor, want to do more research. We have a lot of students that are doing either pre-law or pre-med. I had a student that was pre-vet. It's a great undergraduate degree preparing for a graduate specialty. So it doesn't have to be a master's in accounting. You could go into a master's of finance, do PhD. You could go into law, get your do the LSAT and go to law school. that is a really good option. Accounting is a great foundation for all of those. If you are looking at maybe branching out from accounting in the future, I highly recommend a dual major or a minor in something that gives you a little bit of that broader experience. If you want to do strictly accounting, you probably don't need to do a minor or a dual major, but it does give you a little bit of flexibility. And you can come talk to me more about that. If you're doing accounting, I highly recommend that you get involved in one, if not both, of our accounting clubs. And that's going to be IMA and Beta Alpha Psi. IMA focuses on management accounting. Beta Alpha Psi focuses on public accounting. There are different requirements to get into each of these, so make sure you research that. But I cannot recommend these enough as a way to propel you in your career development. So make this a standard option. Don't skip on this. Say like, I will join one, if not both of these. A lot of students will come to me asking when they should do an internship. And so I have a few options on here between when you start school and when you're graduating. What do you think would be the best time to complete an internship? Kind of a trick question. The answer is all the above. If you can swing it, I recommend as many internships as possible. That way you're getting the experience and exposure that will allow you to make informed decisions of your future career. If you're only relying on your classes, you're missing out on maybe what the work experience is going to be like. Go do an internship in audit. Go do an internship in tax. Go do an internship in managerial accounting. Maybe try something in finance. That's not possible for everyone. Look at your own schedule, talk to your advisor, and see where you can fit in either an internship or a meaningful work experience. Okay. Like I mentioned at the beginning, accounting recruiting happens really, really early. And so make sure you're jumping on that now. This was short, but please, if you have any questions, concerns, come meet with us. Like I said, you've got your advising team here. I'm your accounting career coach. You can come talk to me. I'd love to go through more options. Maybe if you have nuanced experience or circumstance, we can walk through some of those options for you. But it was great chatting with you, and I look forward to seeing you in the future. Thanks.